When actor Hugh Jackman and his wife ended their marriage after 27 years, people were pretty shocked, but studies show it's not unusual.
It is being called gray divorce, and it's trending. And to tell us more about this new uptick is family lawyer Brahm Siegel. Brahm, good to see you. Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's just start maybe with the definition. What exactly is a gray divorce?
So, first of all, there's no such official or legal term as gray divorce. It's not like you walk into court and the judge says, this is a really complicated case, and you say, no, it's not, Your Honor, it's a gray divorce. And the judge says, oh, I didn't know. You didn't tell me it was a gray divorce. Judgment for the plaintiff. It's a term created by the media, social media, to refer to people who have been in very long marriages, anywhere from 20 to 25 years and up, and people who are tending to get divorced, separated 50, 55, 60 or over.
Are you seeing more of this?
We are seeing more gray divorce, and there's a couple of reasons for it. The first is people are marrying at a later stage. Back in the 70s, people married around 23, 24, 25 years old. In the early 2000s, that number had gone up to 28 to 30. By 2023, the number was 32 to 34. And correspondingly, the age of divorce, the age at which people divorce, has also gone up. Back in the 70s, it was 38. Early 2000s, it was 43. And 2023, the average age for divorce, 48. Now, interestingly, during that time, that 40-year period, the length of the average marriage has remained constant. Any guesses? Want to guess how long the average marriage goes for?
10.
15.
14. Very good. Yeah. So that has been the first reason. The second reason is, in general, when people divorce later, they have more means. They have more property, more investments, and especially as far as women go, they have more freedom. Financial freedom to make the decisions they did, compared to when my parents were my age, and often it was one spouse who had all the assets, the financial means, and the other who didn't, and as a result, less options to leave a marriage. And the third reason why it's more common is, compared to the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, family law in Canada, at least, is much more enforced, robust, fulsome, and as a result brings a lot more financial balance to both sides.
Okay. Are there some common features of a gray divorce that maybe we don't see in shorter marriages?
Yeah, I think there are. The first is, in general, a gray divorce, there's usually a house with significant value, no debt, both parties own it. Usually one person wants to hold on to the house, buy the other out, and the other wants to sell it. And a common feature is this dynamic where they can't agree. And the person who wants to sell always has more leverage. And the leverage is because if there's a conflict, the courts always default to a for sale sign on the lawn. So that's the first feature that we see. The second is, usually in a gray divorce, one person has significant pension. And whereas years ago it was very tricky to deal with pensions, in recent years the laws have changed, making it easier to take half the pension and give it to the other spouse. It used to be that the person couldn't do that, and so the person with the pension would have to give up a significant other asset, usually their share of the house, making it hard for them, the pension holder, to rehouse. And the third thing we see, the third common feature is spousal support. Long-term marriages, gray divorces, we see a long-term spousal support connection, usually created because one spouse has been at home more, raising the children, focusing on the children and the home, and the other being the financial breadwinner, being out of the house, earning the money.
For anyone at home listening to this and are contemplating splitting out, they're in a long-term relationship, long-term marriage, whatever, and now they do see the writing on the wall that it's going to come to an end. What's your best advice to them? I'd
say three things. The first, if you think that a divorce or a separation may be in the offing, not is, but may, go for a consultation. And don't make it with any kind of lawyer. Go for a consultation with an experienced specialist family law lawyer in your province. They will take information from you, they'll tell you about the law, and they'll give you some information about your rights and options. And I'm using the plural because the earlier you go, the more options you have, as opposed to it happening to you, a lot less options. The second thing I would say is, throughout your marriage, not just if you think a separation's in the offing, collect information. Make sure you know your finances. There's nothing more frustrating when a client comes to your office and says, my spouse is a multimillionaire, but I don't know where the bank accounts are, I don't know where the investments are held, and I don't know the name of the company. Privacy laws being what they are, it's very hard to get that information, and judges make decisions based on evidence, not on speculation or I think. And the final piece is, I would suggest you get a good team. Okay, and I'm not just talking about a financial team. You need a good lawyer. Often you need to spend money on an accountant, chartered business evaluator. These things all cost money, so you need to find a way to fund that, whether it's a line of credit, a friend, a sibling, a parent, but also an emotional team, whether it's a best friend or a sibling or a divorce coach or a therapist. You know, divorce can be very tricky, and everyone comes in saying they want justice and fairness. And sometimes that takes a long time to get and takes a lot of emotional and money in order to get your results.
Are you thinking the same thing I am? How many couples start going down this road, they get about halfway through, and they're like, this is just way too complicated. It's easier to stay together.
Well, I always joke with my wife that the first 30 years are the hardest.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
She doesn't like that joke.
Thanks so much. Good to see you this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you.